kind of staying in game mode. So we're doing a lot of team reps because I think that's the best way from a conditioning standpoint to make it like a game. But we're also want to take plenty of individual work where we're going to work on fundamentals and just the techniques, particularly with young kids. We've kind of looked at this whole preseason camp and certainly 16 days until the next one to make sure we're working with those young guys. So often this time of year, they kind of get banned to the scout field, and they don't get much coaching. So we're really taking advantage of it, and they're getting a lot of work in individual, and yet the guys that are playing are getting the majority of the team reps. So there's a balance to it, and then we're going to do the same thing tomorrow. We're going to run a lot of team work because going long series of drives, maybe 12, 14, 15 play drives, because that taxes particularly the linemen. Probably more so this time of year than if we were just doing wind sprints or something. But we've gotten good work with the kicking game. But I think it's been productive. And then Saturday we're going to hit Western Kentucky. So we really get 2 days up on them because we'll have really good work day on Saturday and Monday, which you generally don't get to the next opponent. I think sometimes if you get going on the next opponent too early, by the time you play them, the game plan kind of gets stale, and you're not at your best. So that's why we're kind of preparing this way.
The intensity, trying to sustain the intensity on that gap.
Yeah.
Is that a concern at all? That
Sure,
guys will let down
absolutely. Particularly, guys want to play. They played that first game, and then you want to play that second game. Sometimes later in the year they might be wanting to buy, but they don't want to buy the second week because they'd much rather be playing a game Saturday than practicing Saturday. So you do worry about that, but that's why we've had good intense practices, but we haven't beat them up. We've tried to limit it to 2 hours, which we think is reasonable work. We're still getting good meeting time in. But it's always be a concern of mine next week. That when you have a long layoff like that, how are you going to be when you bounce back?
Does that mean you're going to try maybe something outside of just going out here and scrimmaging, keeping these guys competitive? I don't know if there's anything you guys do that fun games or anything for it.
Nah, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go in the stadium tomorrow. We're going to turn some music up and make it a little bit livelier than out here. Saying new environment as much as same old practice field. But we're still going to practice football. We're just going to do more teamwork. Really, almost like having when we have our full scrimmages, we're just not going to scrimmage. We're going to practice at the tempo like we do out here in team, but do a lot of it, which I think guys like doing that anyway, and breaks the monotony of the same periods of individual, same periods of kicking game and all that. Kind of throw it all together. So that's how we're going to change the pace. And then Saturday we'll get back to normal practice, getting ready for when we start implementing the Western Kentucky game plan.
I'm also working on a story kind of on the theme of this season. Finish.
Yep.
Can you talk about how, obviously, the 12 plays you've talked about a lot. How did that finish come about, and what have you seen out of it this summer?
Well, to me, it's a mindset that it's a point of emphasis, and I've always thought in teaching, coaching, whatever you do, you are what you emphasize. And if you just talk about it and preach it and demonstrate it enough, then it becomes part of your culture, so to speak. And I hear our guys talking about it a lot out here. You got to finish the play, got to finish the drive, those kind of things. So it's a mindset as much as anything else. When can you truly evaluate it? That's hard to say, but it's just been a point of emphasis from day one that as close as we were last year, we just didn't finish the deal. And it may have been a play, a drive, a series, a goal line situation, whatever it was. So that's really what it's all about.
Did you guys hear anything on Matt Perez? I guess
He's going to be evaluated by the doctors tomorrow morning, and so he's going to be out for a while. But it's hard to say until the doctors have a chance to evaluate him. So we'll know more. I don't know when we'll get the results, but we'll know by the first of the week. But he's going to be out for a while. There's no question about that.
Yeah. You don't know if it's a tear or anything like that?
No, I don't yet. That's why I say they're going to MRI him tomorrow. And then it generally takes a day or so until we get the results back.
What have been the biggest things you guys have emphasized, looking at this week and this sort of bye week? What's the things you guys have tried to correct after looking at game film?
Well, clean a lot of things up. But as much as anything else, we've really stressed continuing with what we're doing. We're not experimenting with new things. You always tweak a little bit, but we like what we do offensively. So it's a matter of, in the run game, pass protection, just continually getting better at it and giving everybody a lot of quality work. I think that's as much as anything else. I was talking to Coach Mo, during our team period today, and he made the comment how much better the twos are getting because they're getting a lot of quality work. And those guys, they're going to be important some point in this season. It may not be at Western, but it may be against Ohio State, or it may be at when Iowa comes. It may be when we're at FedEx Field. I don't know, but the quality work we're getting with both the ones and the twos, I think is certainly going to pay off down the road. I was talking to Pete asked me a little bit before he came over that we're also spending some quality individual time with our young guys, and making sure they don't just get sent to the scout field and don't get the work. So I think this week it's been about that, and then also getting quality teamwork that is used not only to sharpen up what we're doing, but also to get some good conditioning in. Sometimes I think just playing football, making those linemen go maybe 12, 14, 16 play drives is a better conditioner than doing old-fashioned wind sprints. So we're trying to mix the continuing of getting better with staying in game condition. So that's kind of been the emphasis, and then we'll get on Western Kentucky on Saturday.
How much easier is it mixing those twos in now in the program than maybe it was a couple of years ago because you have a little bit more talent?
I think so. I really do. And I think we have more older guys. If you look at our twos, we've got older guys working with our twos. We have a variety of tight ends. That's part of it. But in the O-line, right now, Josh Hager and Cody Faulkner, Jordan Marquette, McShane, Rodkey. So we've got some guys that have played. Pagan has bounced back and forth with McDonald resting up a little bit. He's in one. So there's a lot of quality names, and I think that's just a show of depth. Defensive line the same way. We got the four guys that rotate, but even though Darius Johnson's down, right now, you still got Deontay Mack going and Terrence Thomas going and Fred Jones are going, and those guys, they've been in the program a long time. So that's where I know we have more quality depth because a lot of experienced guys doing the work, and then still mixing in the young guys that we think have some talent.
Is that basically a payoff too of the whole red shirt?
I think so.
Strategy? Yeah.
That's the philosophy behind it, and we can see it in a number of areas. The one area we probably haven't is at wide receiver. Certainly we have quality guys, but the only one really older, experienced guy in Terrence Turner, because we played Dawson Belcher right away, and Deweese is still a young kid, and Jamon's a young kid, and looks like Kofi may end up getting in the mix. So that's probably the one spot where we don't have that depth of experience. But like the secondary, everybody says we got a whole new secondary. But you think about Burks and Counselor, fifth-year guys. Ernest is a fourth-year guy. Evans is a fourth-year guy. Donnie Jones is a fourth-year guy. So we've got guys that are in the program, and that's why I feel good. And I think there's a maturity to the group, even though some of them haven't played that position a lot.